conversation.
Yes,
That
is perfect advice. Yeah.
That is the
I always, every time I do a speech.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay, think about it as a conversation, guys. Don't think about it as like I'm on the spot. Someone's just asking you your opinion. So what do you think about this and that? What do you think? And I believe in you guys. I believe that you are incredibly smart young men and women who are able to hold a conversation. That's just all it is. Okay, I have another. Oh, tips for anyone competing on the Miss Universe stage.
I guess we spoke about some tips previously through our preparation.
Yeah, I think as we've been speaking, we've been giving a couple of tips.
Yeah.
But I think my biggest tip for anyone entering the competition is to know your story. Like, know yourself. Because it doesn't matter what people ask you, it will always come back to who you are. It will always come back to the core of who you are and everything that you believe in. So if you know yourself, if you have a purpose and you have a story, doesn't matter what people ask you, it will always come back to who you are. So, I mean, when people speak about authenticity, they're not being ridiculous. They're not being cliche. That's what it is. Like, you are just arriving as your true self. You know your story. You know your thing. Don't go in there blindsided. That's all I'm saying. Like, don't walk in there blindsided. Walk in there knowing who you are to the core. It's so important to know ourselves, because when we are so stable in who we are, we're able to make the right choices.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
That's my biggest
I couldn't agree more.
No,
especially during the interview, because, you know, the judges, they're not asking you about off topics. You know, they're not asking you about, I mean, of course, there'll be some random questions thrown in about world issues or something, but they mainly ask about you, because they want to know, you know, why is this girl joining Miss Universe? They want to know what makes you the next Miss Universe, basically.
Literally, no one's going to ask you who was the first man to walk on planet Earth. Nobody's going to ask you who is like the 1000th president of... No, it's about you.
Yeah.
It's about... Because it's an interview for a job. I think that's what people think. Miss Universe is a job, and that is an interview, and they want to know if you're the best fit for the organization. And so it's always going to be about you and your opinions of the world. Obviously, you have to keep in mind about current issues that are happening in the world. You have to be knowledgeable about your surroundings, because when you win, you are going to be having these conversations and interviews. People are going to want to know, what do you think of this corona pandemic that's happening? It's something that you have to know. So my advice is always be knowledgeable about world issues. Not all of them, clearly, because you're not a robot, but at least like the big things that are happening during that time, you should know those things, so that when they ask you about your opinions about them, you are able to answer. Again, it's always going to be your opinion about those things, you know. So again, it's about you and what you can bring to the table. So anyone who's competing, don't be scared. When you walk into that interview room, they want to know about you. Again, it's a conversation. It's a conversation, because you know what, people make a mistake of walking in and just getting into interview mode. Hi, my name is Frederika, and I'm here to be Miss Universe because A, B, C, and D. Like, that's not, you're not a robot. It's a conversation. So I think that's the biggest tip that I would give. Be yourself and be ready. Yeah, let me see if people have any other questions. Do you have any questions for me, Fred?
I do, actually, some Indonesian fans. I mean, everybody wants to know how Indonesia was for you, the most memorable moment, and when you're coming back.
When I'm coming back.
Well, after this coronavirus, of course.
Yes, I can't travel now. I loved Indonesia. 2 of the times that I was there, I absolutely loved it, and it was both for different reasons. You know, the first time that I went there, it was obviously my first contact with the place, and I was like, oh my God, this place is beautiful, you know? And then I started meeting the people. And I think I started meeting more people when I came the second time around. So my first impression was, this is a beautiful place, beautiful scenery. It's like picture perfect is what it is. But then I think my second step and phase was meeting the people, because what I always say is, people already know Indonesia is beautiful. They've seen it on Google. They've seen it on everything. But what
Instagram.
you know what I mean? What they might not know is the beauty of its people and the politeness of people. And they're so hospitable, you know, because when I went there, I felt so much at home. I felt acceptance and so much love from the people. So I loved it. I loved Indonesia, and I would love to come back again as soon as this ends and as soon as somebody invites me back.
I'll invite you. We'll have a Bali girls trip.
Of course. Bali girls trip. I love that. Somebody asked how you deal with haters, Freddie. How do you deal with haters? Like people just always constantly being there telling you horrible things.
Yeah, I dealt with a lot of that throughout my career and throughout being Miss Indonesia a lot, definitely. I mean, there was a lot of criticism of me being so young and entering the competition. Me being half Indonesian, of course. And, you know, language skills and my Bahasa skills, because I did speak with a foreign accent. And yeah, there were people judging me what makes this girl think that she could be Miss Indonesia. So I had to deal with a lot of criticism at the very beginning of my pageant career. And I think one of the things that really stopped me from letting those haters get into my mind was just understanding that these haters have never met you in person. They don't know anything about you, and they only know what you show on social media, and it's such a small amount. I mean, being public figures, of course, like we always get judged on what we show on social media. If one thing we do that's bad, we post it on social media, and everyone judges it.
Few people would meet these people in person, you would really know that they're such lovely people and how amazing they are, and you wouldn't want to attack them online.
I know.
Because you don't know them. And secondly, I think how I always looked at this from my side is these are people who were rooting for somebody else. They were rooting for their country. They were rooting for another girl. And so the minute I won, it meant that their person didn't win. And so it's coming from a hurtful place from them. They're hurt, and maybe this is how they are reacting. And so that's why they're deciding to send all those hateful messages. Again, it has absolutely nothing to do with me and who I am. It's a them problem. It's them not being able to process that they just lost, or their girl that they like just lost, you know. And so that's how they react. And also for me, it's just not about you. People are dealing with so many different things in the world. And sometimes they don't know how to deal with the hurt. And sometimes when you go out and you live your best life and you chase your dreams, people who are afraid to chase their dreams might have some kind of frustration that somebody else is doing what they're not able to do. Do you know what I mean? People have dreams and they're afraid to chase them, and once they see someone who has that courage to do it, they start sending all these hateful messages, because I guess it's a reflection of what they think their life might never be. And so that's how I deal with, you know, hateful messages and hateful comments. I look at them and I'm like, that's okay. If that's how you feel, that's fine. It's got nothing to do with me, and it doesn't affect me, because 90% of people are so supportive of me and my journey. Also, the people that I know, my family and my friends, are there for me. Those are the people that I need in my corner the most, you know. So haters don't hate, girl. Haters don't hate. But you know, I was watching this show called The Crown, and The Crown speaks about
I've heard of it.
the Queen of England. Do you know what she says? She says something so powerful. She says, well, I'm not going to say it verbatim, but she says, you might not feel like I deserve to be here. There might be people who might be more qualified at this job than me. There might be people who are more beautiful than me. There might be people who are more smarter than me, but the crown landed on my head. And I said, oh, girl.
Hail to the queen.
Girl! She said it. She said it landed, and there's nothing you can do, because here's the thing, those people are not God. They cannot decide on your life. So it's not even about pageantry. It's about just your life in general. If you're going through something and you feel like people are not being supportive and people are hating you on social media and like bullying you, those people are not your God. They don't have the final decisions about your life. You ended up where you are because you worked so hard and you belong there. And doesn't matter what they say, they're not going to change it. They gave so much hate for you for being Pucci Indonesia, but did that change you being Pucci Indonesia? No, it didn't. It did not. So what I'm saying is, don't be phased. Don't be phased. It's just comments. They're not going to do anything to you. They're going to pass. They're going to pass.
Yeah.
Okay, I know we've been talking a lot about pageantry, and I know you have a life way beyond that. I know that you have something that you're working on because you are a smart woman. You are a COO of a think tank, which is really focusing on what's happening with the pandemic at the moment. Do you want to tell us about that? I want to find out more.
I would love to. Yes, so I started with my friends. We're starting a think tank in Indonesia for millennials, actually focus on the youth in Indonesia because we see such a development in Indonesia of youth wanting to contribute to their community, from wanting to get involved in politics or wanting to be more involved in their country's future matters. So I guess that's one of the biggest reasons why we started it, especially during the coronavirus. You know, a lot of people want to help, but they don't know how. And we just wanted a simple platform that could give the youth and students a voice to speak on, to share their opinions, and to work together, because that's one way that we're going to get through this pandemic, is to work together as a community. So we just wanted to give that platform for them. I mean, besides being a think tank and working together with students, actually, Indonesian students who go to university overseas and in Indonesia to provide the research and information, we also have different projects that we provide our following. So, for example, we also have this community program. And it's basically a program where we offer students who want to have the chance, who want to make their own organization or want to make their own platform. And it's sort of like a judging table. So we look at the platform, or we look at the truth.
Yeah. Oh, that sounds so amazing. And how old are you again? Please remind us.
I'm 20.
20, doing all of these things at 20. That is, that's so incredible. And it's just testament to the kind of caliber of women, that come through to these competitions to represent their countries. We stand for so much more. We stand for so much more than people think. It's more than just the surface. It goes in, beyond. It's an intellect thing. It's a heart thing. And so I'm so proud of you that Freddie has felt during the quarantine. I think that's the question. Or during the quarantine at the MU 2019. Oh, I think this question means, like, what's the hardest thing you had to deal with when we were at Miss Universe, like when we were there, that competing week? I think that's what that question means. Like, what's the
hardest thing? Wow, what could be the hardest thing? I guess it's just it would probably have to do with keep being yourself and still be able to be yourself whilst being in the competition. Because for me, it was such a big thing to enter a competition with so many beautiful and successful, smart, intelligent ladies. Like, I've never had the experience where I entered a room and there was 89 other contestants, 89 other women that were beyond... Yes, beyond beautiful in every way. And that was like, whoa, that was just like a complete new experience for me. But that was definitely the biggest thing I had to overcome, is just like not letting myself be insecure of what I'm bringing to the table, and just still, okay, this is me. There might be other girls there that have amazing careers and might be doctors, lawyers, or have done so many things in their lives, but you've done amazing things too in your life. And even though you're young, you have to believe what you bring to the table. You have to know the reason why you're doing this and why you started your pageant journey. So that was definitely the hardest thing.
A challenge. I love that